Namaste, everyone, and welcome to the Anchor to Light. I know we're starting a bit late, but well, we're here. So before we start, let's ask for blessing, shall we? To the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Mother, to all the spiritual elders, holy masters, to all the saints of all traditions, archangels, holy angels, and spiritual helpers. Personally, to my teacher, Master Tuakok Sui Mahaguji Mailing, we humbly ask for divine light, divine love, divine guidance, help, healing, protection. We thank you in full faith, and so it is. All right, welcome. So, hope all of you had a wonderful day, wonderful night. And the lesson is actually quite simple. And let me just get to it real fast. Let's see. 1 second. All right. So, criticism. Interesting. Uh, the person with many faults is usually the first to criticize others. The person with many faults is usually the first to criticize others. And we call that projection, right? We call it projection. And it's important for us to just kind of think about this. Oftentimes, we use truth to externalize what's upsetting us. In other words, if you don't like someone, you pick every little defect in the other person or what they say and make a big deal out of it. So oftentimes we things that will just normally let it pass, we criticize, we nitpick every little detail. And if you think about it, if you're completely honest, oftentimes it's because there's something in us that we don't like, we're upset. And so because of that insecurity inside, we have a tendency to look for every little thing that's wrong with other people. That's why when I was reading this, the person with many faults, what does that mean? When we're not willing to face the faults that we have inside, like, uh, I should work harder, I should be, what is it? I should be more generous, I should be more honest, I should be, all these things that we have shortcomings that we don't face, we have a tendency to hide it, but deep down it's eating up inside of us. So when we look at other people and we see those, instead of saying, it's something I need to correct, right away you project, you point it at other people. Sounds familiar? You see that with politicians all day long. Whatever the insecurity inside, they look for others and they point instead of saying, it's something I really need to fix. And one of the things that I remember Master Cho used to always tell us, he said, without inner reflection, and then firm resolution, there's no awareness. Without awareness, there's no transformation. In other words, without inner reflection saying, yeah, I think I need to improve my, whatever it is, my self honesty. I need to improve on not being so lazy. I need to improve on not being so gullible, whatever it is. Instead of doing inner reflection, right away, we point the finger at other people. Because it's part of our self defense mechanism. By seeing other people and their faults and pointing it out and criticizing them, it makes us feel like we're a better person. Because, I'm lazy, but nothing compared to this guy who's just a good for nothing lazy bum. So when you meet the person, what happens? Even if you're not thinking about it, you go, oh yeah, you should get something done, man. You're sitting on your ass doing nothing. What are you doing? You're kind of increasing the perception of how terrible they are so that you say, well, I'm fine in comparison. So as we have all these faults inside of us that we have not yet corrected, without inner reflection, which is going back and reflecting, yeah, it's something I need to, inner reflection, firm resolution as in making the correction, what happens? We submerge it, and then we end up just looking at faults at everyone. You might notice in relationships. I remember many years ago, Master Cho used to say, in a relationship, there's a tendency to take little faults of the other person and put a magnifying glass on it and see that it's huge. But when you really love someone, you let those little things, even the bigger things, you just let it pass. Why? Because the bottom line is not them. True, they might not be perfect. A big part of it is we have not yet learned the lesson. We have a tendency to say, well, I don't have any problems. It's you. Have you been in an argument where instead of owning up, say, yeah, I messed up. I should have emailed you. So familiar? Like somebody say, hey, I'm waiting for this email. You have not done that. It's been a while. You've always been delayed or you've always been late. And you say, well, but remember the time that last year I was waiting for 5 hours when you should have done this? And then you say, and how about uh, a few weeks later when you're supposed to do this? You didn't do that. I was waiting for a long time too. So instead of saying, yeah, I messed up, I screwed up, I should have made that better, I should have fixed it, it's easier to say, well, you did worse. So what happens? You go on an attack, you keep criticizing, attacking other people when you go, okay, before we go any further, yep, I own up, I messed up. That's one of the most difficult things to do on the spiritual path. That's why I remember reading one of the, I think it was Confucius who said it. When you see other people make a mistake or do something bad, the first thing you have to ask yourself, if I'm in the same shoes, would I have made the same decision and made the same mistake? When you see someone do something good, you say, that's what I need to emulate. That's how we grow. But most people, that's not how we're trained, right? Somebody makes a mistake, what happens? You tape on social media, yeah, good, yeah, piece of no good, whatever. Or somebody does something bad, yeah, that guy's such a jerk. He's scum, man. He's this, he's that. Instead of saying, yeah, that is bad. But if I were in that situation, is it possible I could have made the same mistake? Do I still have the seed of, let's say, dishonesty? Do I have the seed of laziness? Do I have the seed of tendency to steal? So when you see faults in others, instead of going, yeah, like that, you go, okay, let's look inside. Maybe there's something in me that I have not yet learned. If you have learned it, then good. Then you shut up, stop it. If you have not learned it, you go, oh yeah, that's what I need to learn. Now, of course, I'm not saying, because some of you go, yeah, but if you don't say anything, then people continue doing what's bad. That's why the key thing is excessive criticism. And it goes back to what the Lord Buddha said. Before you say something, and of course, say it's not just moving your vocal cords and moving your mouth. That saying could also mean the way you type, the way you body language, and so on and so on, right? Number one, is it true? Number two, is it necessary? Number three, is it kind? Or is it hurtful? And so if you let it pass through that simple test, then you ask yourself, okay, true, that person made a mistake. So that took care of the first one. The second one, is it necessary for me to point it out to the other person? You say, yeah, if they don't know it, they'll repeat the same problem. They repeat the same mistake. Okay, number three, is it kind? Do I have to tell them you are a piece of no good, whatever, you are the worst person in the world? Or you can just say, yeah, that was a mistake. I hope you learn from it. And if you don't learn from it, these are the things that could happen. So let me help support you so that you will learn the lesson as well as become a better person. So it's true, they made a mistake. You said it's necessary to tell them, but you did it in a kind way, so it's uplifting. If you look at the big picture, which one would be more transformative to the other person? Tell them, yeah, you screwed up, buddy. I need to tell you, otherwise you mess up again. And you are just the worst person in the world. So if you don't change, you're screwed. I mean, the rest of your life, you're doomed. You're saying the same thing, right? True, it's necessary. It's how you say it will determine if it's kind, it's uplifting, or if it's hurtful. Because I know, so people say that, yeah, you're not supposed to judge, you're not supposed to criticize. They go in one extreme. Of course you are. Judging It's a matter of discerning what is correct and what is not correct. It's the expression that will determine if you did it right or not, right? Because you always hear, no, thou shall not judge. You take it to the extreme. So what happens? You see people do something dumb, you don't do anything about it. Or you have a child that's about to fall, it's about to make a mistake. No, I don't judge because it's part of their learning process. They fall, and then what? Is it true? Yeah. They're about to make a mistake or they made a mistake. Is it necessary if we do something, you say something? Yes. It's how you do it will determine whether it's kind, uplifting, or hurtful and degrading. So you want to cover both sides. Yes, you criticize, but not with intention of hurting. It's like what is the reason that you're telling the other person? It's just because, yeah, I know it feels good. You just tell them, you messed up, man. All this time you've been telling me, now look, you messed up too, and you just kind of, it feels good to tell them in their face. So the problem is not them. The problem is you, because we have many faults. That's why always the first and to do it abundantly in criticizing other people. Make sense? So a lot of these things, it might not be like earth-shattering spiritual teachings, but by reading this, we get to see how it can improve ourselves. That's why I love it. Again, I don't have the exact quote in front of me, which is when you see people do something wrong, the first thing you do is like, is there a part of me that could have done that? So what lesson have I not yet learned? If you see something that people do wonderfully, amazing, great, you go, I want to learn how to do that. That's how we grow. That way you keep eliminating character defects and keep increasing, improving your virtues. Make sense? So you just, for the next week or so, you observe, watch the people around you, especially the friends that you have. Just observe who likes to criticize. Oftentimes, the ones who like to criticize have some form of low self esteem. There are certain negative traits they're not willing to face. That's why they point the energy outwards so they don't have to look inside. Now, in your case, since you are so advanced, when you see other people do something wrong, the first thing you do is you look within. Do I have that defect? I better correct it. If you do it that way, you progress so quickly it'll blow your mind. You have to work on, uh, hey, I have to read 20,000 holy books. I have to memorize all these verses. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it if you want to. But let me finish it with this. The true mark of a spiritual person is not the number of diplomas they have on their wall, is not the number of gurus they've visited and studied under, it's not the whole verses that they can recite to you. You know what it is? Good character. Good character. You might not know anything about chakras and aura and none of that. I mean, zero, nothing. But you're kind, you're caring, you're giving, you forgive, you're hardworking. Yeah, you are. You contribute to society. And then when you leave your body, people would say that person was a gift to the world. That's why I love it. My teacher's name when I first found out, uh, Chua Kok Sui. That's actually Fukien. That's one of the dialects. The Mandarin is Cai Guo Rei. That's the Chinese term. And I remember when I first, what does that mean? In Chinese tradition, you have the family name is the first character, the next two or one, depending on a lot of people in China right now just have one word, so it's two words, two characters. But usually the name has two characters, Guo Rei or Kok Sui. And I remember asking and studying about it. Oh, it means gift to the world, or Guo means country, so gift to the country. And I thought about it. I go, well, it's been a gift to me. And to the world because of the teachings. And one of the things he always taught us many, many years ago, he said, before his teacher taught him any advanced spiritual practice and meditation, okay, before, for 1 year, all his teacher had him do was focus on self purification. And I go, what? I'd be bored out of. I didn't say this. It's going through my head. I go, I'd be bored out of my mind. Could you imagine looking at what are the things I need to improve? How do I become a better person? I go, man, I'd be bored. Tell me about chakras. Tell me about making my aura big. Tell me about how to produce miraculous healing. That's what I'd be interested in. But what? For a whole year, I have to look at, okay, have I been unkind? Have I been over criticizing? Have I been a lazy ass? Have I been deceitful? Okay, let's correct it. Like, man, I'll be bored out of my mind. I really would because I'm looking for something, sensational. Then when he said that to us, he went there. He further elaborated. Said, "You see, as you do spiritual practice, it has a magnifying effect. When your chakras get bigger, whatever the inherent contents of your chakras get magnified. So, for example, if your basic chakra, the base of the spine, or other people call the root center, if that has the seed of taking things that are not yours, stealing, right? If the seed is there and your chakra is this size, you do spiritual practice, you make the chakra big. Sure, you have a lot more energy. The positive qualities of the chakra get magnified, so do the negative qualities, just like throwing fertilizer. That's why I keep emphasizing over and over and over again. Comes the full moon, it's a time of crisis or a time of opportunity, according to the Holy Master, the Tibetan Holy Master Dwal Kul, the Tibetan Master. It's a time of opportunity or a time of crisis. For most people, it's a time of crisis because as energy pours in, whatever chakras are big gets bigger, whatever crap they have gets more. But you on the spiritual path, if you understand, you go, it's a magnifying effect. So I want to purify before the full moon, and during the full moon, I want to focus on giving and sharing, so the good qualities get magnified. That's why it's called the accelerated process. Make sense? So just keep that in mind. The purification doesn't stop, but a person would not even think of doing any type of emotional mental purification if they think they're perfect. So what happens? They think they're perfect, and it goes back to the lesson today. So any little fault that other people have, they start pointing at it, magnifying it, and announcing it to the world. So for the next 7 days, just observe the people around you. Who are the people who like to criticize? They sit there and go, look, they're watching this. Oh, he's this, she's that. They should do this. What they call in the United States, what's that? Armchair quarterback. It's good to call a play, or you're sitting in a room watching big TV, drinking beer, and doing something useless. Oh yeah, they should have done this. They should have done that. Sounds familiar? Or some corporate manager sitting in the corner, in a corner office, directing everything, while the people who are really working, as they say, where the rubber meets the road, they're the ones toiling. They're going through the difficulties. They have to overcome all these challenges. They're the ones really have to make the decision. Somebody back there just pointing, you do this, you do that, do this, and while they're sitting on their ass. Sounds familiar? So a big part of spiritual practice is doing what? Before you point the finger out, point it in and ask the question, do I have those faults? Do I have that weakness that I need to correct? Just that inner reflection. Remember, we talked about it. My teacher said, inner reflection, firm resolution leads to awareness. So, from knowing, I could have made this a mistake, I'm going to correct it. What happens? Next time a situation happens outside of you or within you, you get to wake up and aware, oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, this person said that. Yeah, in the past, I would have a tendency to scream and yell at the person and then them. This time, I'm gonna keep calm, ask them what the problem is. Maybe you can solve it that way. So you become aware. That's when you're really awake. That's why the Lord Buddha said, hey, don't worship me as God. I'm just awake. Now the question is two things. One, how awake are we? And number two, how long is the, oh, zooming on this. All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Magda. Okay, so how long do we stay awake? Because oftentimes what happens? Sure, we're awake because something bad happens. Oh, wake up, it's a wake up call. The question is, do you stay awake, or it's only when bad things happen, then you're awake. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna do that again. When things are doing well, you forget and go back to the old pattern, right? So just something to remember. 1 second, make sure it works. Now, let's do our meditation and we'll incorporate what we learned today, shall we? Put your hands like this. I am that I am. I'm not the body, I'm not the emotion or the thoughts. I am the soul. I am a spiritual being of divine intelligence, divine love, and divine power. I am that, the soul, the spiritual self. Just be still. Maintain your stillness and awareness. Let's just quickly go virtue by virtue. Number one, loving kindness and non injury. Let's do a quick self reflection. Have I been unkind? Have I been hurtful intentionally with my thoughts, my words, or my actions, let's say in the past week? Even if it's a remotely, yeah, maybe I could have said something a little better instead of being so harsh. Okay, visualize it in front of you. Just imagine it being completely disintegrated by violet light. Just imagine the situation and just imagine being burned by violet light. Then imagine yourself doing the right thing, saying things kindly, being helpful, being supportive. Good. Let's go with the second virtue. We'll just pick a few so at least you know how to do it. Second virtue, loving generosity and non-stealing. In the past week, month, whatever time frame you want, have I taken things that are not mine, either materially, emotionally, or mentally? Have I taken credit for somebody's hard work? Have I badmouthed someone to get another person's affection? Have I taken things that are not mine? Stayed in a hotel, took a few towels, took a few glasses. I stayed there. Those are all forms of stealing. So picture that in front of you. Just imagine it being burned by violet light. Just imagine violet light is literally dissolving it, burning it into nothing. Good. Now picture yourself in the same situation doing what's right. Somebody did the hard work, you give them credit. You want someone's affection? Doesn't matter. Just leave it be. Don't criticize anyone. In fact, when you do meditation, bless them with love and with kindness. Took things materially, okay, just erase that and see yourself not only being practicing non-stealing, but you're also generous and giving money to charity. Next virtue, honesty and non-lying. First, have we been lying to ourselves? Are there certain defects, weaknesses that we have not learned, and we're just smothering it and covering it up, denying it, and then criticizing other people with the same faults? Have we been deceitful to other people? All of this, just imagine burning it with violet light, disintegrating it, and picture yourself practicing self honesty, practicing honesty properly in other people. And when we speak, when something is true, we ask, is it necessary to say it? And number two, and number three, is there a kind way and uplifting way so by the time we've said it, the other person's actually better off than when they started? Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it uplifting and kind? Next virtue, constancy of aim and effort and non laziness. Have we been procrastinating? Have we been lazy on the responsibilities that we have to fulfill? Visualize it being disintegrated completely, especially the tasks that we need to do that we've been putting off, disintegrated with violet light. And picture yourself accomplishing it at a timely manner. So be it. And last one, moderation, non excessiveness. There are many aspects to this. We'll just pick one. Have we been excessive in our spending? Have we been excessive in anything we do with recreation? Have you been abusing your body with smoking, with drinking, things that are excessive that actually hurt the body? Any of those, visualize it being burned by the electric violet light, disintegrate them, and seeing yourself practicing physical, emotional, and mental control. After all, you're the soul, you're the one that creates the thoughts, the emotions, and the feelings, and the movements. Say, so be it. Now, open your eyes, put your hand like this. Just say, all these negative energies cut and disconnect, cut and disconnect, cut and disconnect. I know, you're probably feeling lighter. Some of you feel slightly nauseated. We're not done yet. Just tap your crown. Just put your attention on your crown. I am that. I am. I'm not this body. I'm not any of these emotions. I'm not any of these thoughts. I am the soul that creates these thoughts, emotions, and movements. I am that, the soul. I, the soul, am in complete control of my thoughts, my emotions, and the movements of this body. And so it is. Now just be still. Leave your awareness on the crown. I am the soul. I am a spiritual being of divine intelligence to completely control my thoughts. I am a spiritual being of divine love to completely control my emotions. I am a spiritual being of divine power to completely control the movements and the actions of this body. I am the soul, the spiritual self. Be still. I am connected in one to my higher soul. I am connected in one to the divine spirit in me. I am a child of God. I'm one with God. I'm one with all. There's only oneness. This is the I am affirmation as taught to us by my teacher, Grandmaster Chokok Sui. I am that. That I am. Just be still. I am that. That I am. I am that. That I am. We'll intensify the energy. Just be receptive. So hum. So be still. Remember who you are. You are the soul, the spiritual self. Remember what you are. You're not the body, not the emotion, not the thoughts. You are a spiritual being of pure energy and light. Remember where you come from. You're one with God, you're one with all. Be still. Gently, slowly, very gently and slowly, come back to your physical body. Gently move your fingers, move your toes. Gently and slowly come back. Slowly open your eyes. How do you feel? Calmer, quiet? We didn't do any super powerful meditation. All we did was number one, we release things that hold us down. Number two, just affirm who you are. That's it. Yeah. I know you're used to like, you know, intense meditation, but remember, no matter how much you expand energetically, if you don't get rid of the weights that pull us down, the way my teacher explained it says, the soul is like a hot air balloon. First, it's pegged down. So you have to cut those. Those are the attachments. Number two, the character defects are like weights. So you toss them. But if you don't toss all of them, the balloon can only go so high. So some of you, when you meditate, you go, oh yeah, I'm expanding. I seem light. I feel like I'm expanding. And suddenly you just feel like, huh, how come I'm not going any further? And you feel yourself being pulled down slightly. That's why. Those are the character defects that we won't admit to anyone, and we won't even admit to ourselves. And the lesson of the day is as simple as those with the most faults have a tendency to criticize others first. That's a Korean proverb, but it has a deep, deep meaning when it comes to spiritual practice. Right? So let's give thanks to the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Mother, to all the spiritual elders, holy masters, saints, archangels, holy angels, and spiritual helpers. To my teacher, Master Tokok Sui Mahaguju Mailing, we thank you. Thank you all for divine light, divine love. Thank you for your compassionate, purifying light, and soothing, healing energy. Thank you in full faith, and so it is. Right, it's a shorter session. Actually, that's the right session. It's just been going overtime last few days. I hope you learned something. The ones who just joined us, go back and rewind it. That's one of the reasons we leave this videos online. Because even though you got it, what happens? Life happens, and we forget. So I love doing this because it reminds me of the things I need to improve. And I hope in the process that has also helped you. All right. Anyway, that's it. Next this week, I'll be in at Wealth Mastery Tony's event. So a lot of you are probably joining already. I'll be on stage Friday, and so we won't have Anchor the Light Friday. I'll be in Florida. See if I can squeeze it in. I'll see how that works with time. And then the following week, I'll be going to Germany. A lot of you have taken panicking already. I'll be teaching class in Rieneck, Germany. It's a big retreat place. So anyway, I'll post it again for the ones who are in the area. Okay, we will see you tonight. I apologize we were late today. As I say, better late than never. And so that'll be like 6 hours and 20 minutes from now. We'll have Anchor Light Part 2. Namaste, everyone. You all take care. Thank you very much for joining us. And I think that's it. Okay, let me see if I can do this right without messing it up. Thank you for helping me there. I didn't realize it was not focusing properly with Instagram. Okay, namaste. Bye bye. God bless. See you then.